Hi, this is Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this week's Project of the Week. I have had several questions about embossing on towels. So you can make the fluff come up and mat down around it, and it makes a very, very attractive gift. And we have addressed this before, but I don't know that we have addressed this specifically for a towel in our FTC-U. So I want to go through that right now for you. Now, the first thing you're going to do is we're going to deal with artwork to create our design places, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to come up here to our artwork tool, and I'm going to left mouse click, and I'm going to select the square or rectangle, and I'm just going to hold down my left mouse key and draw. Now I'm going to come to transform, and I'm going to say I want to make this, and I'm going to deselect maintain aspect ratio because I do want to make this a true square. I'm going to make it 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. I'm going to apply that. And I'm also going to come in and I'm going to fill this in with color just for the visual for us. So now I'm going to right mouse click copy, right mouse click paste. I'm going to change the color and I'm going to transform this, and I'm now going to select maintain aspect ratio, and I'm going to make this 4.5. Apply. Now I'm going to copy. If I can get my little guy to copy here for me. That's what was wrong. I had my little pin on. Copy. Right mouse click. Paste. And I'm going to change the color of that so it's clear. And I'm going to transform that to 3.5. And then I'm going to come into my artwork lettering right here, import true type fonts, and I'm going to left mouse click on that, and I'm going to bring in the letter S, and I'm going to change the color of that as well. Now I'm also going to transform that, and I'm going to make that 2 inches tall. So I'm going to apply. Now with that, I'm going to select everything on screen. So now I'm going to go ahead and close down my properties box for a second. And I'm going to do that by coming up to the upper right hand corner and left mouse clicking on the X. Then I can see my sequence view very easily. I'm going to select all items. I'm going to come right up here to my top toolbar and get to my align tool, left mouse click, and I'm going to center everything center. Because of course I want my S centered. Now what we want to do is we want to create areas that we can put stitches in or not, depending on how we want our embossing to look. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my S, hold down my control key, and grab my first square. Now I'm going to come up with both of these selected. I'm going to come right here, and now you'll notice I have intersect, weld, and trim. I am going to trim out with my S, so I'm going to select trim. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead and take this, bring back my properties box, and I'm coming up here to my top toolbar. In fact, let me highlight that for you. I'm coming right up here to this icon. This is my properties box. So I'm just going to left mouse click on it. There's my properties box, and I'm going to deselect fill and apply. So now you can see I have got the outline of the S and the inside outline of that square. Now I'm going to take my green square, holding my control key, my blue square, and again I'm going to come to trim. Now I'm going to deselect my fill so you can see what we did. So now you can see I have these areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the S, holding my control key. I'm going to select this first square, and I'm going to come up to my little paper clip, and I'm going to left mouse click and combine this area. So now this is one area. As you can see in my sequence view, that S and that outline is one area. Now I'm going to select my outside of that box, holding my control key, the outside of that box, and I'm going to combine that area. So if I were to fill that, you would see I have created this area. If I were going to fill this, and I'm just filling it just for the visual. It's not going to make it work any different. Now our choice is, where do we want to add stitches? Now if I wanted the towel to fluff up in the S and the middle square, I would fill in this black and this green. If I wanted it the opposite, if I wanted to stitch down the S and stitch down this square, thus matting that down and having a relief look, that's how I would do this. And then my fluff would be the black and the green. So that's personal choice. So let's go ahead. What I want is I want the fluff of the towel, the loops of the towels coming up through my S and right around here to define that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my black, and I'm going to say, let's fill that. And I'm going to use a motif fill, because remember, we do not want to create a bulletproof towel. So we're going to use an open stitch to do this. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click a stitch that will hold down the towel, but not necessarily give us a whole lot of stitch count. So I'm going to come and I think I'm going to select 279 for this. Let's try that one. Now I've got that, and I still think that's a bit heavy. So I mean, we've got lots of choices, and I want you to watch and check what you're doing. Okay, let's apply this. Okay, that's much better, but I still might want my pattern size just a little bigger because it will hold down the fluff of that towel. So I'm going to make my diamonds in there a little bigger. Now you're not going to like this look. See how the S is distorted because it doesn't have a clear outline. Well, that's easy. We're going to right mouse click copy, right mouse click paste, and now I'm going to turn that into a run. So now I have a beautifully defined area that is matted down. Now again, I'm going to want this to fluff up around here, and I'm going to come and grab this green and I'm going to mat it down. So again, I'm going to come in here, and first I'm going to create the fill. Then I'll put the outline. So again, I'm going to come in and I'm going to go look for a lighter motif, just like we did before. I should have checked the number and didn't. So there it is, 204. And I changed that to a 6. And I'm going to apply. Same thing, we've got missing spots. So we're going to right mouse click, copy. Perhaps. I've got that little drawing tool on and it messes with my copy and paste. Copy, paste, and now I should have a nice defined, well, let's see what I've got here, because I don't see that defined. I've still just got, I've got 2 fills. I didn't change this yet to a running stitch. That explains it. You can always tell what's going wrong if you look in your properties box. So let's come down and let's grab our run stitch. And now I've created that run and I have defined that nice little border. So now what's going to happen is this and this is going to mat down, and it's going to allow the negative space to let those loops flip up. We could have done it opposite and taken the S and made it the positive space and let the area where we have our motif pattern be the positive space. So we can do that whichever way we want to do it. Now, do you have to use a square? No. You can use a circle, a heart. Just remember, you need to create your 3 areas plus your letter so that you can select and create the border areas by welding, put in a motif, put in an outline, and you have a beautifully embossed towel. These are wonderful gifts. They have a beautiful look. And you can kind of oversize the letters and everything on this because it's not full of stitches and it's not a traditional monogram, so you can have a lot of fun with this. Of course, with your TrueType fonts, you can use any font that's in your computer. I just picked Arial Rounded just for a simple exercise. But the sky's the limit. Enjoy creating. Remember, you can do anything with FTC-U. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.